am to be here. You can't imagine how proud I... Oh, well, sure, whatever you like, but why? No, I haven't heard from or seen Martha in, must be 30-something years now.
Thank you. I mean, it's just such a relief to finally have someone who's willing to listen and take me seriously. You will do that. Otherwise, I'm not saying a word. I've had enough of being ignored and worse. Thank you.
Well, after she lost touch with reality, she couldn't deal with me anymore, with the fact that I wanted to face facts, face her problems. Look, it's one thing to live in a delusional world when it's just you, but we had a child to raise, even if we were apart. Actually, a teenager by the time things got really bad for her. And then, after that, she just stopped responding when I tried to get in touch, and then she disappeared altogether. Before today, I honestly wondered if she was still alive.
No, I haven't been in touch with George for... It's been a long time. Why should I keep in contact with someone who thinks I'm crazy?
What? Sure, but why do you want to talk about...
So you know about that. So it's not just something I'd almost convinced myself it was just all in my mind. Well, that's when it all started, I think, as far as I can say. I know, young kids can do all kinds of things without realizing, without understanding just how bad they are, and I guess most of them turn out all right, more or less. But...
You mean the animal thing? Yes, 3 cats and a dog. How the hell did you even know about that? Yes, that was all. Well, there were other accusations. People jumping on the bandwagon, but no reason and no evidence. No reason to pin anything on him.
Cats, dogs. No one really knew how many there were. It was hard to say. They were... What was the police word? Disarticulated.
Look, first of all, he was 8 years old. He didn't have any idea. And second, they were older kids. I don't care what anybody else says. There were definitely older kids who put him up to it. That's what he told me, and I believe him. And I still do.
You won't find any official information on it because the records were sealed. Because he was found not responsible and he was a minor.
The thing in 9th grade. Let me set you straight. He called me 3 days before that in tears because of what that gang of older kids was doing to him. The non-stop, relentless, sadistic bullying. I'd have probably done the same as him. In fact, I would have snapped sooner. Frankly, I don't know how he stood it for so long.
His father managed to smooth things over, hired a pricey lawyer, people backed off. But George didn't have to live in this community and deal with the fallout from that. See those parents in the supermarket? Say what you would. Those boys were in the hospital because of my son. One of them is going to have to live with him. Well, he's never going to be the same.
So, sure, he had some discipline problems when he was a kid, but he straightened himself right out. Around his junior year in high school, he went from a B.C. student to a straight A student almost overnight. He even got himself a girlfriend, a nice, pretty girl, too. Some kids just take a bit longer to sort themselves out, and just look at it now. Emily something? Why?
Yes, when he was 17, all the trouble stopped. Like a switch being flipped. It was like overnight he became the perfect student, the perfect young person. a complete transformation, as far as anyone knew.
He was still living with his mother then, but he moved out as soon as he legally could. Definitely can't blame him for that. I offered to let him stay with me, but he wanted to do everything on his own. Sure, I gave him a little help now and then, but he mostly made his own way.
There was one time when he was 18, just a month or so after he graduated from high school. He was going for a few days on a camping trip with some friends, and when he got back, it's like he wasn't there. Just this empty stare and smile, and he looked at me, looked through me. That night, when he was sleeping, I took his car keys. Like, he'd have had a fit if he found it. He was always accusing me of spying on him. And I looked around in his car, and in the trunk there was a pillowcase stained with blood, fresh blood.
Camping? No, he never mentioned it to me. I used to try to get him to go when he was a kid, but it wasn't his thing. Soft beds, hot showers, Disneyland. That was his idea of a vacation.
I'm a nurse. I know blood when I see it. And some rope, white nylon rope. There were blood stains on that, too.
No, besides, he couldn't stand bugs. He used to swat and squash them any chance he got.
No, I never asked him about it. He'd have told me a story about a friend getting hurt in an accident, something. He always had an answer for everything. And you could not believe me because it never seemed like he was making anything up. Just came out right away like the God's honest truth. And that smile of his.
It's true, that boy could charm the pants off a snake.
Anyone else would believe whatever he said. That's why George and everyone else started to think I was crazy. A week later, he packed up his things and moved out. While I was at work, never said goodbye. I never saw him again. That camping trip. That was the same week those girls went missing in Colorado. 3 states, 1,000 miles away. I never put it together till later. It wasn't local news. Maybe it was all a coincidence, but I couldn't get it out of my... No, he never would tell me who he went camping with. Said I wouldn't know them anyway. No, I didn't. This was before DNA testing or any of that. If I could go back and do it over. Yes, I would. I wish I had then.
Oh, no. Of course, not a word. Not to anyone. Not even Doris. You can count on me.
Of course, I know what he's doing now. He's all over magazine covers, newspapers, the internet. That's one reason I never go online. Look at last Tuesday's news, but there's no way I could miss that. Me? Well, I can't put a reason on it, but to be honest, my life is shit. Pretty soon after he moved out, I lost my job. Since then, if I got a job, it never lasted more than 6 months. They find some reason, some flimsy pretext to get rid of me. And I was good at my job, better than most. And then the phone call started. Just someone breathing on the other end, usually in the middle of the night. But I had them traced, and they were coming from all over. I mean, all over the world. One night from Tokyo, the next night from London, Madrid, even from places you never heard of, little villages in Mexico, Indonesia. I started to get scared.
Doris? Oh, well, she's the light of my life. I met her 3 years ago and proposed after 6 months. And crazy as it might seem, she said yes to an old fart like me. I was on a flight, as a matter of fact. I was on my way to Jamaica for vacation. When I wake up from a nap to see the most beautiful face in the world leaning over me. Would I like coffee? Tea? I chose her instead.
No one. But why, I wonder, not to be conceited, but even in my 50s, I could still turn a few heads. But anytime I met someone, got close to someone, something always went wrong. They'd get spooked for some reason, just disappear on me, stop returning my calls. Ghosting, I think that's what the young people call it now. I kind of started wondering if I really was as crazy as George thought I was.
Our relationship now, well, I can't complain, can I? I'm sure he doesn't visit much. Usually just for the day, in and out, never spends the night. But a guy like him is always having to jet off to somewhere. But he's always happy to see us, always full of energy and enthusiasm, and Doris absolutely adores him. And did you happen to see that car parked outside? He gave me that for my 60th birthday. Me, driving around in a Bentley. Is this a great country or what?
But once, there was a really nice man, an engineer. After we'd been seeing each other for about a month, he asked me if I'd had any enemies, anybody who wished me harm. I said no, not that I knew of, but I told him what I'm telling you, and Sam, he actually seemed to take what I said seriously, which was wonderful. A week later, he was dead. They said he jumped from the roof of his office committing suicide. That's when I stopped going out at all, when I moved, changed my name. It's a wonder you found me. Oh, I'm glad you did, though. I'm glad to have this chance to finally tell.
Oh, sure. People write all kinds of things. That, you might say, is the price of success. And even the negative stuff. And I'm not saying I believe it. Well, all of it, most of it. Even if 5% of it's true, so what? You don't get where he is by always being all sweetness and light. You want an omelet, you got to break some eggs. And there's nothing to be gained by dwelling on the negative. No use crying over spilled milk. I'm a guy who sees the glass as half full. What's past is past. What's dead is dead. And the future is ours to shape as we will. We all have within us the power to reimagine ourselves and create our own reality. And I say that as a man who sincerely and unconditionally loves his son and drives a Bentley. Well, last Tuesday, well, let's just say it's a day I'll never forget, and I dare say nobody else in the world will either.
Yes, that's right. Sam Erickson. Wait, how did you know? Well, what are you?
How do I feel about it? Well, how would any father feel? I'm overjoyed. My son is one of the most successful people in the world, and he's just announced that he's running for president of the USA. How do I feel? How would you feel?